One of the great blessings of our democracy is the promise of equal justice under law. Courts and administrative tribunals are neutral arbiters of rights and responsibilities. Disputes are resolved by law and by evidence and not by force. All are equal before the law. But the system doesn't work for millions of Americans. To get equal justice, you need a lawyer. Legal aid is there to ensure equal justice for district residents, to make justice real. For more than 75 years, Legal Aid has worked with low-income district residents to resolve their legal disputes.
Ms. Edwards was caring for her 2 grandsons and recovering from a hospital stay when she discovered that she was facing foreclosure. She asked her former employer for help. He promised to save her home, but he tricked her into signing a loan that required her to pay back many times what she owed. She faced foreclosure again right before Christmas. There is justice for Ms. Edwards. A legal aid lawyer stepped in and persuaded a judge to stop the foreclosure, get rid of the loan, and restore Ms. Edwards and her grandsons to their home.
Courts and administrative agencies can be impossible to navigate without a lawyer. In tens of thousands of cases, a legal aid lawyer has stood with a client as their advocate and made certain that justice was done.
Ms. Silva is a survivor of domestic violence. She was abused by her son's father. She left the relationship and got an order of protection, yet he continues to fight his obligation to pay child support. There is justice for Ms. Silva. Her legal aid lawyer secured an order of support and stands ready to enforce it. Ms. Silva sent a clear message to the father that he could no longer use the court to maintain power and control over her.
We address the most basic needs: housing, healthcare, safety, family, and public benefits. In many cases, the presence of a legal aid lawyer is the difference between housing and homelessness, food and hunger, violence and safety, medicine or preventable illness.
The conditions in Mr. Haywood's apartment violated the housing code. He had problems with basic plumbing and vermin infestations. His landlord refused to fix the problems and he began to withhold his rent. Instead of getting repairs, he was sued for eviction. There is justice for Mr. Haywood. A legal aid lawyer defended him. The repairs were made and Mr. Haywood received a large rebate in his rent for being forced to live in poor conditions.
Legal aid staff work in offices throughout the community to be closer to clients and remove barriers to help. We have offices in communities of concentrated poverty and at the court.
Ms. Valladares relies on Medicaid and Medicare for necessary prescription drugs. It is a complex system and each year she must pick a new plan that best covers her needs. She is one of hundreds of seniors and persons with a disability that Legal Aid helps each year with Medicare Part D. Ms. Valladares' problems did not end with Part D. She has limited English and is not provided interpreter services for medical care as required by district law. There is justice for Ms. Valladares. Her lawyer works with her to enforce the district's Language Access Act.
In addition to working with individual clients, legal aid staff works to change the law through decisions of the Court of Appeals, changes to regulations and statutes, and efforts to improve court procedures. Legal aid is a community of staff, volunteers, and donors. Each year, members of the bar give tens of thousands of hours of time to legal aid cases and projects. Firms and lawyers are our most generous and consistent donors. By giving to our dinner, annual appeal, and associates campaign, they provide essential funding for our services. Without this partnership with thousands of members of the legal community, legal aid and its work would not be possible. Supreme Court Justice Lewis Powell said, "Equal justice under law is not just a caption on the facade of the Supreme Court building. It is perhaps the most inspiring ideal of our society." For legal aid clients, we achieve that ideal by making justice real every day.